right, so today we're going to be diving into a topic that I find really interesting, and that's the Sigma male.
Ah,
You know, that kind of mysterious guy who you see kind of operating on the edges of the social scene.
yeah, the lone wolf.
Yeah, and we're going to be using a book called Sigma Mastery, Transforming into a Relentless Alpha Male as our guide for this deep dive.
Interesting title.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, right off the bat, this book kind of jumps into who it's talking to, you know?
Right.
The author says he's writing for the rational scientific truth seekers and reasonable men.
So he's got a specific audience in mind.
Definitely, it seems like he's targeting guys who are, looking for answers in a world where the definition of masculinity feels like it's constantly changing.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, so before we get too deep into the nuts and bolts of like how to be a Sigma male,
Sure.
let's talk about like what actually makes a Sigma male a Sigma male. You know, what are the traits that set them apart?
Well, the book starts by going way back, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, talks about figures like Heracles and Odysseus from Greek mythology.
Okay.
You know, strong, resourceful, independent, classic Sigma traits.
It's amazing how these ancient archetypes still resonate with us today.
Right.
And it's not just mythology. The book also brings up modern figures like Clint Eastwood, James Dean Bruce Lee.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
They all kind of project that same vibe.
That quiet confidence.
Yeah.
Operating on their own terms.
Exactly.
And the author traces this archetype throughout history,
Yeah.
you know, suggesting that certain periods like the Industrial Revolution might have actually favored these kind of adaptable, independent guys.
Interesting. So like certain personality types thrive depending on the challenges of the time.
Yeah, exactly. But let's get a little more specific.
Yeah.
What are like the defining characteristics of a Sigma male, according to this book?
Well, the book emphasizes several key traits. Independent, not just like in action, but also in thought.
Okay.
Emotional intelligence,
Yeah,
resilience,
okay.
and a preference for operating outside those established hierarchies.
So they're not afraid to go their own way. Nope. They're critical thinkers, problem solvers, leaders who forge their own paths.
So it sounds like a pretty self-reliant, almost maverick way of being.
Yeah.
But how does this actually play out in today's world? You know, the book talks about the challenges that Sigma males face in a society that's constantly evolving.
Right. Well, that's where things get really interesting. The author argues that the rise of what he calls progressive ideologies is kind of eroding traditional masculinity and creating a difficult environment for men who still hold those values.
So there's this tension, almost like a clash between the Sigma male archetype and some of the prevailing cultural trends.
Definitely. You can feel that tension throughout the book.
And how does he suggest men deal with this? Like, what are some of the strategies the book offers?
It's a mix of practical advice and psychological insights. You know, the book stresses the importance of mental, think stoicism, resilience,
Right.
building a supportive network of like-minded people, and most importantly, staying true to yourself even when it feels like the world's pushing you in a different direction.
So it's not just about like pushing back, it's also about harnessing those Sigma qualities for success in different areas of life.
Exactly. It's about understanding your strengths and using them to navigate the world.
You know, the book uses some really compelling examples of successful figures throughout history, like Winston Churchill,
Oh, yeah.
to kind of illustrate how these Sigma characteristics have always been there and how they can lead to great achievement.
Churchill during World War II is a perfect example.
Yeah.
The book presents him as like the epitome of stoicism and resilience under pressure.
So it's not just about understanding who Sigma males are, it's about actively cultivating those qualities to thrive in today's world. But does the book actually get into specifics about things like careers and relationships?
Absolutely. In fact, a big part of the author's Sigma Mastery framework focuses on exactly that.
Okay, let's start with the career aspect then. What kind of advice does the book offer for Sigma males who are, trying to make it in the professional world?
Well, it highlights the Sigma male's ability to like see opportunities that others might miss, you know?
All right.
Their independence and resourcefulness. It even shares an example of a Sigma male who solved a problem at his company by thinking differently and recognizing a pattern that everyone else overlooked.
So it's about using those unique Sigma traits to your advantage.
Exactly.
It sounds like the book is saying that Sigma males might not be as focused on climbing the traditional corporate ladder.
Right. The book champions entrepreneurship and financial independence as natural fits for the Sigma male mindset.
Which makes sense. If you're wired for independence, going out on your own might be more appealing than fitting into a rigid corporate structure.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got career covered. What about relationship? Does the book offer any guidance on how Sigma males approach dating and relationships?
It definitely does. And this is where the book gets really interesting. You know, it delves into the unique challenges Sigma males might face in relationships given their independent nature and, as the author puts it, their skepticism towards certain modern dating dynamics.
So it's not just about like jumping into the dating pool. It sounds like there's a strategic element to it.
Right. It even talks about understanding seduction and social dynamics, suggesting that there's a whole layer of strategy involved.
There's a quote that really stuck with me. People naturally react more strongly to body language than to words spoken. Therefore, as Sigma males, we must harness our body language to convey confidence, trustworthiness, and authority.
That's a key point. The book puts a lot of emphasis on nonverbal communication, encouraging Sigma males to project confidence and authority through their posture, at eye contact, their overall presence.
So it's about mastering the art of subtle communication.
Exactly.
Not just in romantic relationships, but in all social interactions, right?
Right. The book highlights the importance of building a network of people who understand and appreciate your values, especially in a world where those values might be challenged.
It makes you wonder, if Sigma males are naturally independent, how do they balance that with the need for connection and belonging?
That's a great question, and it's something we'll explore further as we dive deeper into the book's insights and strategies.
All right, so far we've covered a lot of ground. We've talked about what defines a Sigma male, the historical context, the challenges they face.
Yeah.
But this is just the beginning of our deep dive into Sigma mastery.
Exactly. There's so much more to unpack.
We'll be back in a moment to continue our exploration of the Sigma male and how to unlock that inner Sigma.
Stay tuned. So welcome back to our deep dive into the Sigma male and Sigma master.
Yeah, we've talked about, who they are historically, where they fit in. But I'm thinking, how does a guy actually put these Sigma ideas into practice day to day?
Well, one of the things that the book really stresses is cultivating a powerful presence, both physically and mentally. It talks about projecting confidence through your posture, your eye contact, even how you dress.
Right. There's a section on what they call alpha body language that I found really interesting.
Yeah.
Especially for Sigma males who often kind of operate under the radar.
Yeah.
Mastering that nonverbal communication seems pretty crucial.
It's about sending those signals without having to be loud or aggressive.
Right.
It's about embodying that strength and authority, commanding respect in a more subtle way.
It's like there's a quote from the book that I thought was really powerful. It says, everything we do in life is about sending the right signals. That's all it comes down to.
That's a good word.
So it's not just about action, but how those actions are perceived.
Exactly.
Right.
By mastering that nonverbal communication, you can actually influence how other people see you.
Okay, so we've got the physical presence down.
Yeah.
What about that mental game?
Yeah.
How does the book suggest guys develop that Sigma mindset?
Well, mental toughness and resilience are key, especially in a world that, the author sees as increasingly challenging for men with traditional values.
Yeah, there's definitely this kind of warrior spirit vibe throughout the book.
It's about being prepared for battles, both, internal and external.
Right.
Facing your fears, seeing challenges as opportunities, and having that unshakable determination to succeed.
So much of it comes down to self-reliance and self-belief.
Absolutely. The book really stresses the importance of defining your own values, even if they go against the grain of what's popular or trendy.
I think this quote kind of sums it up. Sigma males understand that true self-confidence comes not from seeking validation from others, but from knowing who they are and what they stand for.
Yeah, that's a powerful idea.
It's about having that inner compass, those core beliefs that guide you no matter what's happening around you.
Right. And the book also emphasizes emotional intelligence.
Okay.
Not just understanding other people, but also managing your own emotions effectively.
So it's not just about being stoic all the time.
Right. Sigma males are often portrayed as calm and collected, but it's about having that mastery over your emotions so you can make rational decisions and navigate those complex social situations.
So it's interesting how the book balances this emphasis on self-reliance with the need for strategic social maneuvering.
Right. It's not just about being a lone wolf all the time. It's also about knowing when to connect and collaborate.
Right, like building that Sigma-friendly social circle.
Exactly. People who share your values and can support you on your journey.
The book even uses the example of ancient Spartans and Viking warriors who were incredibly independent, but also relied on those strong bonds of camaraderie and loyalty.
Definitely.
It's a reminder that even the strongest individuals still benefit from having a tribe.
Right, people they can trust and rely on.
Speaking of history, the book makes some interesting comparisons between the Sigma male archetype and historical figures like Winston Churchill and Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, yeah. Great example.
These were guys who were known for their strength of character, their willingness to challenge the status quo, and their ability to lead during really difficult times.
The book kind of uses them as examples of how these timeless Sigma principles have actually played out in the real world.
It's inspiring to see how those qualities can lead to real achievement.
Yeah, definitely.
One thing that surprised me, though, was the book's focus on style and grooming.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about inner strength.
Right.
It's also about projecting an image of confidence and competence through your appearance.
It really goes into detail about dressing well, choosing clothes that fit properly. Paying attention to your grooming habit. It even suggests consulting with a tailor to refine your look.
I love this quote. Your physical appearance plays a significant role in how others perceive you. By paying attention to your grooming and fashion sense, you can create an unmistakable image of confidence and competence.
Yeah, it's about taking control of your image and using it to your advantage in social and professional settings.
So it sounds like Sigma Mastery is about more than just mindset or behavior.
Right.
It's about cultivating a complete persona.
Yeah.
One that projects strengths and competence in every area of life.
It's about becoming the best version of yourself inside and out, embracing those timeless principles of masculinity and using them to thrive in today's world.
So we've talked a lot about the foundational stuff.
Yeah.
But how does the book actually apply these principles to specific areas like career and relationship?
Well, that's where it gets even more practical. The book dives into the unique challenges and opportunities that Sigma males might encounter in both work and personal life.
Okay, so let's start with career then.
Sure.
What kind of advice does it offer for navigating the corporate world or pursuing entrepreneurial dreams?
Well, it emphasizes strategic thinking, innovation, and challenging the status quo. It argues that Sigma males, with their independence and ability to spot opportunities, are well suited for leadership roles or, starting their own ventures.
There's a whole section that analyzes the leadership styles of really successful CEOs and entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And many of them display those classic Sigma traits.
Right. The book highlights guys like Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Richard Branson.
Yeah.
And it makes the point that Sigma males, with their out-of-the-box thinking and calculated risk-taking, are natural disruptors and innovators.
I see what you mean. And it also stresses financial literacy and strategic money management.
Yeah, the book really wants Sigma males to take control of their finances. Invest wisely and build that solid foundation for the future. It even offers specific advice on things like real estate investing and starting businesses.
There's a Warren Buffett quote they highlight that I thought was really good.
Yeah.
If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die.
That's a good one.
It really emphasizes that financial freedom gives you the ability to live life on your own terms.
Exactly. Having that financial independence gives you the freedom to pursue your passion, make choices that align with your values, and ultimately create a life of purpose and abundance.
Okay, so we've got career covered.
Yeah.
What about relationships? How does the book guide Sigma males through the complexities of dating and relationships?
Well, this is where the book's perspective gets really interesting. It acknowledges the unique challenges that Sigma males might face in forming and maintaining relationships, given their independence and their unconventional approach to life.
It sounds like there's a level of strategy involved for Sigma males when it comes to dating and relationships.
Right. It's almost like a game of chess.
Yeah.
The book really emphasizes understanding social dynamics, mastering the art of seduction, and being selective in choosing a partner. It even gets into the evolutionary psychology of mate selection.
Wow. There's a quote that really stood out to me. Sigma males are not afraid to be alone, but they also recognize the value of a deep, meaningful connection with a partner who shares their values and ambition.
Yeah, that's a good one. The book argues that despite their independence, Sigma males aren't destined to be alone.
Okay.
They can have fulfilling relationships, but they need to be intentional about finding the right person.
So it's about finding someone who respects your independence and supports your ambition.
Exactly. The book stresses finding a partner who complements your strengths, challenges you to grow, and shares your vision for the future.
And it also talks about communication,
Right.
both verbal and nonverbal, as being crucial for building strong relationships.
Definitely.
It encourages Sigma males to develop their emotional intelligence, be good listeners, and express themselves authentically.
Effective communication is essential in any relationship, but especially for Sigma males who might be more prone to keeping their thoughts and feelings to themselves.
Yeah.
The book really wants them to be more open and expressive, share their vulnerabilities, and build that trust through honest communication.
So becoming a Sigma master in relationships sounds like a blend of self-awareness, strategic thinking, and being willing to be vulnerable and authentic.
You got it. It's about understanding your own needs and desires, knowing what you're looking for in a partner, and communicating effectively to build that strong, fulfilling connection.
This deep dive has been really fascinating so far.
Yeah.
We've explored the key traits of the Sigma male, the challenges they face, and the practical strategies they can use to thrive.
We've covered a lot of ground.
But there's still more to uncover.
Definitely. In our final segment, we're going to explore the more nuanced aspects of Sigma mastery.
All right.
Things like cultivating that mental toughness, optimizing your time management, and ultimately becoming that relentless alpha male that the book envisions.
Sounds good. I'm ready when you are. All right, so we're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into the Sigma male. using Sigma Mastery as our guide.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about, the theory, the challenges. But this book really gets into the nitty-gritty of like how to actually live this way.
Right. One of the things that really struck me was the emphasis on time management and productivity.
Sense. The whole book portrays Sigma males as naturally efficient and goal-oriented.
It's not just about like working harder though, right?
No, it's about working smarter, prioritizing, knowing what really moves the needle, and cutting out all the distractions.
I like that analogy in the book about treating your daily routine like a well-oiled machine.
Oh, yeah. Streamlining your workflow, maximizing output.
And they even get into specific techniques like the Eisenhower matrix.
Right. That one helps you figure out which tasks are actually urgent and important.
And then there's the Pareto principle too.
Yeah, the 80-20 rule. Focusing your energy on the 20% that delivers 80% of the results.
So it's all about being strategic.
Exactly. Knowing where to invest your time and energy for maximum impact.
The book also talks a lot about setting clear, measurable goals.
Oh, yeah. Without a vision, it's easy to get lost in the day-to-day.
So it's not just about dreaming big.
No, it's about breaking it down into concrete steps, tracking your progress.
It's like a blueprint for success, turning those big ideas into reality.
Right. But Sigma Mastery isn't just about external achievement. It also talks a lot about building that inner strength.
Mental toughness, resilience.
Yeah, true strength comes from within. It's about being able to handle pressure, bounce back from setbacks, stay calm in the face of challenges.
I like that part where they talk about embracing challenges.
Oh, yeah. Seeing them as opportunities for growth.
Like a shift in perspective.
Exactly. Framing those obstacles as stepping stones on the path to success.
They even suggest things like mindfulness meditation and visualization.
Training your mind to be your ally, not your enemy.
And that mental strength is especially important in today's world.
Absolutely. The book's pretty upfront about the challenges that men are facing in modern society.
It's almost like a call to action.
Yeah, a call to reclaim masculinity, to push back against forces that are trying to redefine what it means to be a man.
They use the term warrior spirit.
Right. Fighting for what you believe in, protecting those you care about.
But it's not just about those external battles.
Yeah, no, it's about conquering your inner demons, too.
Self-awareness, recognizing your weakness, working on self-improvement.
It's about pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, embracing discomfort as a catalyst for growth. Never settle.
They use examples of guys like Michael Jordan and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, guys who achieved incredible things by overcoming obstacles and refusing to give up.
I thought the ending of the book was really powerful.
Yeah, it definitely leaves you with a lot to think about.
It asks, as you close the final page of Sigma Mastery, transforming into a relentless alpha male, take a moment to reflect upon the journey you've embarked upon. Now that you've reached the end of this book, what comes next?
It's like an invitation to take action.
Right. To create the life you want, become the best version of yourself.
The book doesn't give you all the answers. It's more like a framework.
A starting point.
Yeah. It's about understanding the Sigma male archetype and using that knowledge to navigate the world.
It's a reminder that we all have the potential for greatness.
But it's up to us to step up and make it happen.
If you're interested in exploring these ideas further, Sigma Mastery, Transforming into a Relentless Alpha Male, is available on Amazon Kindle and Google Play Books.
It's a fascinating read.
And that's what we're all about here on The Deep Dive, exploring ideas, empowering you to create the life you want. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.